Hello everyone, welcome to the Housebroke Hooligan. And today, I'm going to share a little bit of an experience that I had within the past 24 hours. So, I recently was going through some emotions, and those it was the first time I had experienced them at such a magnitude. And the feelings just were more and more painful. The thoughts that would go in my mind just became more of like a dragging sense. And it had gotten to the point where I just wanted the pain to stop. Wanted the thoughts to stop. I wanted it all to go away. And I had attempted to numb myself by using alcohol. And the problem that happened with that is instead of numbing it, it caused me to be a little more emotionally taxed by the feelings that I had. And so then other thoughts started to occur. And I think it's pretty safe to say that most of listeners know what kind of thoughts would enter one's head when they're entering these emotions. I mean, yeah, pretty safe to say, I guess it would be depression. I mean, I used to be one that would think that, I don't get depressed. I'm always a positive person, always really happy, and can always look on the bright side. Well, this event had certainly caused me to go into the darkest recesses of my mind that I didn't even know existed. And yeah, I wound up attempting to commit suicide. And should have been successful based on what I had done. It should have worked. But for some reason, it did not. I wound up actually waking up and definitely in lots of pain, which now when I think about it is well deserved. But one of the things that I had come to realize is, it's very dangerous for someone who is depressed and having suicidal thoughts, but it's even more dangerous when they make it logical. When, you can make arguments about it. You can, especially if you know someone that is going through something like that. You can make arguments, loved ones that are in their life and how they would need them, or how people care about you, and what removing yourself would cause. And a lot of times that works. It'll work on people. But for the ones who have made it a logical reason to just remove themselves from existence entirely, to where these people care about the individual or whatnot, but then the fact of the matter is, why are they wanting to commit that act in the first place? A lot of them feel a lot of people think it's like just a depressive stance, a thought. But then last night, and then after talking to somebody this morning, I come to realize when there's a actual pain experienced, whether it's from the thoughts that constantly wrap in your head, or even like just the sadness that goes into your heart, it actually becomes a physical embodiment, a actual pain. And I know when I was experiencing it and it got to that point, there's like, will this ever go away? Because it feels like it's not going to end, and it's agony. Straight agony. And that's when you see it as thinking it's a release. It's an end to that pain, an end to that torture. And though, yeah, there are people that care about you and someone's telling you, you're loved and wanted and needed, that's not why the thought of suicide came in the first place. It's to end the suffering. Because when you are suffering and you're experiencing it to where you don't know how to stop it, there's only one answer that you can find in order to do so. And that becomes very scary. Because I made the attempt. And even right now, I'm still daunted by it because it should have worked. But it didn't. Which does tell me, though, that one, something out there won't even accept my judgment on when I am to leave. And yes, I know this podcast is supposed to be to help people in those situations and whatnot. And some probably are like, well, wow, you sound like a hypocrite. Well, that's the thing, though. I'm sharing this story with everyone so that those that have experienced this, one, I can honestly say, I see clearer into what you all have to go through in your depression. And it's going to also help me to continue to try and help others. Because I obviously have a greater purpose here. I don't know if it's just my body saying, nope, we're survivors, we're not thrown in the towel. I don't know if it could be something stronger than that, that's just saying, no, your use is still needed on this plane. Don't know. All that I do know is that I'm here. I shouldn't be. So I can either dwell in it and be confused, or I can take that experience and use it to help others. Do I think I still have quite the trail ahead of me? Yeah, I don't think this is over yet. Because this is something that was just far beyond anything I had expected to encounter. But now I also have the regret of even making the attempt, because now I had a chance for the day to think about it all. Yeah, I know good and well I scared plenty of people. And then I myself am a father, and when I think about it, it's like, yeah, maybe right now in this situation I had felt like I didn't affect them enough to where my absence would be detrimental, but that's still very wrong. I am a very good father, and if I had believed that I if I believed that I wasn't for a second, then maybe my removal wouldn't have an effect. But I can't sit here and say if I had left this world that they wouldn't be distraught and torn from it, and it would affect them down the road. Does that help to prevent me from doing it again? I'd like to hope so. Do I still have shadowy thoughts right now? I do. But I'm willing to admit that. And I'm willing to do what I need to try and keep that at bay and try and recover. I also have friends that I know would be torn up about it. But also, a lot with people and loved ones, a lot of things that go in your head in that occurrence is that those feelings will wash away over time. It's just one of those things. But still, the people that I had concerned, and then I got checked up on today, so I know a lot of them are relieved, but there's one individual I know that I had upset the most, mainly because of the way I spoke about how the emotions came to be. And that, the regret I have for one, even taking the chance of making them think that they were the reason, which I hope that person doesn't think that. It's just, I will admit, I was just in pain. And unfortunately, that moment I was in like a primal thought process due to the alcohol, and when you're in that, there's only one response: to try and make it go away. But now I get to live with the regret of, as strangely as it sounds, of waking up alive. Which, I mean, granted, yeah. Well, if you're going to wake up, you're obviously alive. But the wording essentially is like, that's the regret. Because now I have to live with that shame that I tried to kill myself. And it affected a lot of people. And it's true, people do talk about that, how it doesn't just affect you, it affects many people. It does. And I will be punished by experiencing that for the rest of my life, of how I affected those people. But I also feel I deserve it. But on the flip side of that coin, I can use this to help. Because now I have felt what some of you are feeling. And I am very sorry you are having to endure that. I'm very sorry that it's doing that to you. And you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to try and see how I can help you all. This podcast is going to be one of those tools I'm going to try and use. Another one is I'm going to see if I do some community efforts and stuff, try and think of ways to bring a positive element, because a lot of things that helps is, what I've noticed, you can keep your mind busy to where you can retain some form of happiness in an event and whatnot. So there might be some truth to that one, because the best way for me to describe this depression is, it's like having a migraine almost, where the pain gets intense, and then after a while dealing with it, the pain just kind of pulses. And so you can, at some points through the day, ignore it, but it's still there. And then there will be moments where it just gets so intense you don't know what you're going to do. Like, how can I make this stop? Now, with a migraine, you can take medicine. And sometimes it'll go, sometimes it'll just fade. So the question is, how do we find the medicine to help with the torturous part, the pain of depression? Because I know beforehand, when I thought about depression, I just thought of it as just a sadness. Just being really, really sad. It's so much more than that. It takes on a physical torment. And now it's like, I've got a lot to do. I got a lot to try and figure out. How can I help these people when a lot of it's internal? Their own bodies are essentially being tortured based on emotional feelings and mental thoughts. So that shows how powerful, though, the human body is to where cognitive responses can yield physical results. Like one time, some person was talking to me, asking, can you really die of a broken heart? I think you can. Because those emotions, from what I experienced, caused a pain that made me want to die. But I also think maybe there have been people out there that have experienced it so intensely that it did cause them to die. So it's just something that I really need to explore more on. And so I'd like to, some of you listeners, you want to send an email to housebrokehooligan@gmail.com. Tell me some of your thoughts that you guys have to endure and deal with. Tell me some of the feelings and such that you guys go through. Then maybe it'll help me see a little clearer, because I know my experience has just opened my eyes more. But I really need to hear from you all to help me be a better helper for you. And so that's why I'm sharing my story. It's literally been probably about 16 hours since I had attempted to take my life. And I mean, yeah, you're probably, voice is still shaky and stuff, still pretty weak, but, I think it's part of the punishment for someone like me to have made that attempt. But I'm also not going to keep downing myself, because now I have a way to try and help others. Because that's one thing we gotta realize, is that there are lots of people out there that are trying to hide it. Hide that pain, hide those feelings. And so, I want to see what I can do to help make that not as painful. And maybe find a way to where a person would be able to shed that agony. In case you're wondering, that chime would be the phone in the room. Not phone, clock. That's what those are called. They're clocks. And so it likes to do that long chime whenever it strikes a certain hour. So it's been quite the experience. And anyone who's listening that did have to go through that, I am very sorry. I have got a lot as a person myself to work on. And to that someone that I had spoke with in the morning, I'm very sorry. It was not, you weren't the cause of this, I was. And it was my doing, my own doing. But I am going to better myself for it. And then I'm going to hopefully help others. But also now I can see what you're going through, and I'd love to be able to help. Yes, I gotta work on myself first. But why can't I bring everyone along for the journey? Because who knows? Maybe we can all work on ourselves together. Maybe we can become stronger. Turn this around. Make that pain go away. So, we'll all take that journey and see what we can figure out. Try and put an end to this. And I want to find a better thing than trying to attempt suicide. I want to thank all of you all, though, for giving me the chance with this podcast. And right now it's in the beginning stages, but the end goal is to help. Well, I hope some of y'all can take from this tale, take from my event, and maybe if I'm lucky, maybe some of you realize you're not alone, even in those depressing times, because I definitely know how it feels now. And It hasn't gone away yet, but I know one thing for sure. I am going to find a way to make the pain stop. Make the thoughts stop. If for anything, it's so that I can ensure that my children have a good future with their father, my friends have a good future with their friend, and for hopefully whoever winds up walking the rest of this world by my side, so I can give them a reason not to give up on me, to want me there. So, right now, just want you all to know that I love each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. And if those demons are knocking at your door, tell them to leave a message. So stay you, stay true, and I will catch you all on the flip side.